Welcome, everybody. This is our most recent episode of Tilt Talent in Lending Tech. My name is Mark Cunningham. I am the CEO, co-founder of Trained. And today on the show, we have some amazing guests. And it's kind of timely. We're all preparing to go to the ACUMA Conference coming up, which I'm very excited about. And all of us will be there. So I hope to see any viewers there that may be attending. First, I'd like to introduce Carissa from Cloudvirga. She is head of marketing there and very excited to have her. Runs a brilliant manufacturing technology as a point of sale company. And then we have Peter Benjamin, who is the president of ACUMA and a veteran in the industry. So excited to have you today, Peter. And just for our viewers, what are the dates again, just to let everybody know for ACUMA Conference? We have the national conference coming up in September, but maybe a little bit detail on that real quick.
Yeah, ACUMA's Make Your Mark annual conference is September 21st through 24th.
Awesome. And that's in Denver. So
Denver, Colorado, at the convention center.
That's a great venue.
Yeah.
So and how many, you've got a ton of attendees coming. How many attendees this year?
Right now, we're at 560 registered, and we're about, just shy of a month out. And I think we're on pace to have the largest event we've ever put on. So hoping we can get to around that 600 mark. So
awesome.
Mark.
Yeah. No, I like the name of the conference. It's good.
Thank you.
Not for me. I just had to call that out. Anyways, well, we've got ours. So just for our viewers, the goal is to talk about technology. We're going to use the theme of manufacturing, loan manufacturing technology today, since we have Cloudvirga Trained as a back-end platform as well that bolts onto your existing LOS and works with POS systems. So Peter is an expert on a lot of tech. He's in a unique position where he gets to continuously talk to different tech companies, both with, the lenders and credit unions themselves, as well as the tech vendors in the space. As there's a lot of preferred great companies in ACUMA that participate and support the organization. So anyways, we'll ask a couple questions around manufacturing. Chris and I'll ask, and then we want to really hear about Peter's talent at the end of this show. So he's got some real creative talent that I think people are going to want to try to sample some things at some point. So anyways, so first question, Peter, is what challenges do you see, have you heard, let's just say in the last few months, in this market, but really around manufacturing loans and assembly line, it's unfortunately more costly to produce less loans in this type of environment. Things I've heard are, there's more contracts falling out these days, even, after signing contracts. But anyways, if you could speak to just maybe technology around some of the challenges that lenders are facing out there.
Yeah, of course, I can only really speak to what credit unions are telling me, right? IMBs, banks, I can't really speak to that. But for me, and what I'm really seeing, the biggest challenge that their experience is, one, access to these technologies. Like you mentioned, yes, there's costs. Costs are rising, and so it does pose a lot of problems for credit unions to get access to the best technology out there. Well, what they are looking for is really that provider that can help them really go the spectrum from that life of member service, right? They want to be that finance partner for life, provide that financial wealth for all of their members. Credit unions have a wealth of data on every single one of their members. Starting from when they open their first savings account, when they're little, all the way up to when they get their first mortgage and, maybe open a possible IRA. Who knows, right? You name the financial thing that a member possibly can do. Credit unions have the data. Very just like a part of the family member, we know when they get married, we know when they lose their jobs, death, divorce, you name it. Credit unions know that just like the bank does. The issue that I'm hearing is that there's really not one provider, right, that plays well in the sandbox or that can provide that solution specifically for mortgage that can be that LOS point of sale efficient system at a good cost point that are, again, ACUMA, the American Credit Union Mortgage Association, that my mortgage credit unions can leverage for success. When you focus on consumer has this all day long, but there's not one for mortgage, right? And I think that's the thing I'm hearing a lot. They want this technology for mortgage at a good price point that can take everything that's in their core system, have that API, or integrate well, wherever you want to frame it up as, and be able to really find out how we can really give this member some great seamless experience throughout the mortgage process. And we're just not seeing it. It tends to be a bumpy road. It tends to be not cost effective. Yeah, are there players out there? Yeah, it's expensive, but there are players out there.
So
No,
when you
that's
say that
great.
there's players out there, obviously from Cloudvirga perspective, we're at LOS or front end solution, but we or POS, sorry, front end solution, but we do play with all the LOS systems. We are vendor agnostic, but we're relatively new launching our new product. So I'm curious to hear from you what solutions are out there, if any, have you heard, or what maybe is lacking a little bit. Maybe somebody has 90%, and is missing that kind of 10% feature.
For the sake of my own sanity, I prefer not to reference anyone by name, knowing that I have about 160 vendor members. But I will say this: all too often, the average LOS, may not have a direct connection to the most modern core system out there, right? And I'll say a core system because we don't have relationships or our members are not core systems, right? That's more of a different type of association. So one of the core systems that I personally am fascinated with is Keystone Correlation. It's an open API. It's pretty seamless. It does a pretty good job. It's built for the small to mid-sized credit union. Web-based, great platform. But the thing is that it's new, it's open, right? But the problem is that how do you get a mortgage tech stack to really be seamlessly involved with that without recreating the wheel? Keystone can do HELOCs, and they can do some portfolio mortgages, but not to the point of it being compliant with regards to TRID or full HMDA or anything like that. I think if I remember correctly, they can do bridge loans, but again, that's not anything that every credit union does. When I say this, like what credit union's going to do is that they're going to go get, more than likely an overpriced LOS, an overpriced, product and pricing engine or something like that, and probably have to go either pay someone to build a bridge, which adds to the cost, or have that point of sale or LOS build that bridge for them, which just adds to the cost. And it's never really going to work right. It's never going to pull in the full member data from that core system. Full deposits, full credit report data, you name it. The core system has everything. Documents, date of birth, you name it. We really need all that, and more as you know it. I mean, this is a document heavy process.
Yeah, that's a great comment. You brought up some good topics. One of the things, it used to be a strategy 15 years ago where companies tried to follow more the Oracle path, and pet peeve of that old legacy tech, not the new stuff, but was the fact that they had no APIs, they had closed systems. And that was a strategy to try to hang on to things. And then, in the mid, I would say 2010 and beyond, you started to see where companies would then create these API bridge connectors, if you will, to help expand technology. And we've seen the biggest technology companies, Google, some of these play in that space where you create Lego tech, and Lego tech is a little bit of an older term, but you have to get growth and to grow a vertical or an industry, it's been my experience that you want to have these robust integrations and APIs. And it's, people are going to build the tech no matter what. So you can't just try and like hold everything back and not share. You need to work together and create these bridges, and then may the best tech win from there. And that's pretty much, so there's still a lot of that legacy. I agree with you, Peter, kind of like with this being able to connect and get core attributes and data out of a system. Vendors need to be able to move the data. They need to be able to have control of their data, right? And be able to make their processes more efficient. Both Cloudvirga and Train, they're not legacy systems in that regard. We're completely open where we can receive, push and pull and do whatever. But certainly interested in talking to the one you just mentioned, Keystone, about, bridging that, but also other tech players out there, don't build closed APIs.
Right.
That is not freedom.
And listen, don't get me wrong. Credit unions aren't to blame for this. Aren't without blame to this as well. Credit unions historically overthink every single process. Historically, are the worst gatekeepers of information out there. Right. We over over compliance for just the sake of doing it. Right. Whereas if there's a technology platform like Trained or Cloudvirga that fits every single requirement that is out there for it to be a compliant system, right? And it's secure, right? And it meets every type of security setting that you need for it to exchange information back and forth between systems. Why are credit unions stopping that from integrating with the core system, right? So again, credit unions aren't without blame, but credit unions need to find there needs to be a system at a better price point for credit unions be able to leverage to have that life alone, have that member for life experience for their members. And it goes beyond just a point of sale. It's LOS. It's it's a mortgage specific CRM. You name it, we can go down the list of things, right?
Yeah. No, that's
Really.
awesome. Carissa, did you have anything you want to say?
No, I think that's great insight. Obviously, at Cloudvirga, that is something that we've, have insisted on providing to our clients is the open flow of data, of information, of opening the loop back up, as Mark was saying, and not building the closed end kind of, technology. And that's what we hope to achieve. Obviously, we're in the beginning stages here. So we have the upfront solution, we have the consumer data portion, we have a loan hub, we have an admin center, but we really do believe that the lender, whichever lender that is, from a credit union, from an IMB, to auto, what have you, they do need to have control over the systems, to have an option, a no-code option to make changes on the fly to adapt to their consumer needs for the reasons you just mentioned, to be able to have all of that data flow in their system. So we hope to, obviously continue along our technology journey. And there's great partners out there like Trained, that believe in the same thing. So we're excited for what's to come. We'll be at ACUMA as well with a demo of our new system. So excited to see what the conference has and to see what other solutions are out there as well. I think there's obviously a lot of great things in the market. So just excited to see what that holds.
Great. So I want to pivot to our keynote question that we brought some real talent on the show, being Peter Benjamin, and we'd like to reveal what his, creative talent, one of his creative talents is. And so the question that we always ask is, first of all, what is that creative talent? And secondly, how have you used your creative talent to be so successful in the industry? You've built a really great trade org. You've led a career of success around, working in the business and on the business. And so maybe just what methods and playbook things have you taken from that after you tell us what your talent is?
Well, I like to think I have multiple talents, but this one is, I'm a home brewer. I have my own brewery in the basement, and I probably should have relocated my setup to my home brewery just for this. Just like you have all your guitars lined up, I literally have a laboratory in my basement. Recently, it's been things that I can convince my wife to drink because she doesn't like IPAs, even though I like IPAs. It's easier when you have two people in the house that like drinking beer, and when you brew, base pretty much a case of beer at a time. When there's two of you drinking it, it goes much faster. So I've been brewing things like an amber, porters, lagers, stuff like that, more malt forward type beers.
Yeah.
But if it was up to me, I would brew an IPA all day long.
Oh, what's your model IPA that you like to try to get a modification of, let's say, or influence of?
Honestly, like just hazies are great, but I like a standard American IPA.
Okay.
It's a clear IPA. It has some pine to it, but also has some sweetness to it. So I like a standard American IPA.
Great.
Hi, you wanted something from my time in San Diego. I went to a lot of breweries out there. When I first started living there, I really did not like beer, but I left as a very big IPA fan. So I would like to sample some of this homebrewing situation beer.
My favorites, these are a little out of the box, but I actually really like cream ales. I don't know if you like those. Some of those I like, and I like the Belgian type tripels, some of those like really rich beers, because I don't drink a lot of beer, but if I'm going to drink one, I want it to have a lot of flavor. So
and get you to your end point pretty quickly.
So, and last question, how have you used the creative part of that? There's a lot of, it's almost like being a mad chemist, right? So how have you used that to be successful in your line of work?
So it kind of actually ties back more professionally than anything else. So I'm a Six Sigma black belt.
Wow. I never knew. I'm glad I'm on your bad side.
No, like Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma.
I thought you meant like MMA. You said
Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma. So I have my black belt in Lean Six Sigma process improvement. And so the idea is that you are able to identify flaws and processes and improve quality, right, through process improvement. And so it honestly has taught me that even if something isn't the best quality, I have been able to pinpoint where I've messed up, go back to starting over, and perfect it all over again. But I've also been able to accept my mistakes better, learn from them, and really just move on. I mean, because I think all of us in the mortgage industry and being where we are at some point in time, we had to be perfectionists, right? And if you really think about it, that's really unhealthy.
Yeah.
Trying to strive for perfection every single day. So using this hobby to really say it's okay to make mistakes, because even if I mess up on a recipe that I have brewed 100 times and it's a tried and true recipe, and I know for a fact that it's a good recipe, even if I mess up on it once and it's still drinkable, that's okay.
Yeah.
I can still drink it. I'm still going to enjoy it. I know the next time I'll make it better.
You bring up a great concept. It's about building things, whether it's tech or whatever you're building. Don't let great stand in the way of success, meaning perfection, right? Like you need to get out there, launch it to actually get the good feedback back and then work through the issues. And you just described that actually in brewing beer, which is a wonderful analogy. And obviously it's why you're successful too. So anyways, well, we'll get some of the, we definitely need to get some pictures of your brewing skills up there and some of what you brewed. So, we'll get that and post that with this on LinkedIn. So anyways, for everybody viewing, hope you guys, we have the chance to see you at ACUMA, and, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Carissa, for joining me. It's wonderful to have you guys. You guys are awesome.